soon as I see the record, oh, I see it up there. And Jane, are you ready?
Ready.
Perfect. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is Wednesday, October 12th, 2022, and we'd like to welcome everyone to our Commissioners Board meeting. We will call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. sharp. You can join today's board meeting via phone, dial 971-254-3149, conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on the best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click live broadcasts. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please mute your phones. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comment can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. So Deb, do we have anyone signed up in the room, or is anyone registered online for public comment?
We do not. No.
Okay, thank you. So this meeting has been called to order. I want to welcome everyone, and if you are in the room and have not yet signed our guest list, please do so. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bell, would you do this?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have no public comments this morning. Non-agenda items. We do have one unscheduled agenda item that we will take up after item number 8. So, going into our legislative administrative calendar, item number 5, discussion and consideration of a co-applicant agreement with Tillamook County Community Health Council and the Board of County Commissioners for health center program requirements. And with us this morning, we've got Marlene Putman, Administrator, Health and Human Services. Good morning, Marlene.
Good morning. So you are likely familiar with this agreement, Commissioners, but other folks may not be. With community health centers that are part of public entities like county governments, there's often a requirement, most common that there is, for community health centers to have a co-applicant agreement. And that is because it's not a separate community, not-for-profit 501c3 organization, it's part of a government entity. So there's two bodies that govern the functioning of a community health center in those circumstances. One is the Board of County Commissioners, and the other is a community health council. So every 3 years, we revisit these agreements to make sure that we remember that we have these two roles and that we're regularly communicating, either with me communicating and or with a liaison who attends these community health council meetings. In this case, that's Commissioner Scar. And that we keep the communication flowing between the two, and that we're adhering to both the law relating to this, but also to our responsibilities per this agreement. So the document that you have outlines those things and provides some definitions. For example, under page 2, there is a little chart that has items that require approval and which of those two bodies have the responsibility for oversight for those items. Some of them are concurrent. For example, financial oversight obviously would fall with the county and with the health council, We don't want just an advisory council looking at the finances for a county department without the county commissioners or other people in the county knowing what was happening. Further, there's a budget that has to be approved with the county and with the health council, but obviously the treasurer in the county needs to be involved in that process as well. A couple of things that relate primarily to the health council are things around selecting and approving certain committee meeting minutes, making sure that they have their board in place, that they keep the recruitment stuff in compliance, that they know about how things are working with the sliding fee for people in our community. And what I mean by a sliding fee is for folks who have limited income or ability to pay, that there is a scale at which they're assessed a fee ranging from $25 up to close to full cost of care if they don't have insurance. That's a really big part for the health council, but also the commissioners are presented with that information too, even though it's not necessarily required. There's a range of things all the way down to leases and service locations and hours that the health council has input on, but so do the Board of County Commissioners. So we're sharing this again to make sure that we are all familiar and aware of those roles and responsibilities and who has authority for what. There haven't been any changes in this agreement since the last 3-year period, but this is the opportunity to bring up any of those things should we choose to. The Health Council didn't have any additional items to add other than just a comment that they appreciate the involvement with the liaison county commissioner who's up to date on our meetings, and that we have such a great opportunity to share information regularly through me or others at the Board of County Commissioners meetings. So that's all I had to share today. Our Health Council chair has signed this, and it's here for the other side or partner in this collaborative agreement to comment, approve, and sign if you would. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene. Comments, questions?
You know, I would just say, as the liaison who attends the health council meetings, we have a wonderful group of very committed individuals who are there every month looking over the finances and the credentialing and the quality and ensuring a really good communication with our patients. And it's, you know, as we talk about always with Volunteers for the County, it's an amazing group of folks. And I appreciate the ability to attend and to kind of make sure I understand as well as share anything that they need to know from the county. But I think this agreement, you know, it's very legalistic with the Health Council. You know, we have so many different volunteer groups that have different roles. And with the Health Council, because of this being a federally qualified health center, there are very specific, very legal pieces that they absolutely have to stay on top of to keep us in compliance. And I appreciate, again, the work that they do to do that. So I don't have any questions about this. I think that having a federally qualified health center as part of the county is an amazing opportunity for us. It's created financial stability for the health clinics that we really need to have, so we have choice in our community and have full services for those who may be underinsured or uninsured. So again, appreciate this group's work, and I don't have any questions.
Mr. Bell?
I agree with Marlene that it's possible that people who are watching this meeting are not aware that there is a council of community members, of citizens who oversee the work of the health department. And as Commissioner Scar said, I am very grateful for their service, and it's an interesting work, and very detailed and specific, and so it's a huge benefit to our community that folks do that work. So I'm grateful and certainly supportive of the application.
As am I. I agree with both the commissioners and their comments. Marlene, especially to you. I mean, you're the one that keeps all this together, and you have a huge department. You do some very complicated things. When I look at the list of responsibilities for the Community Health Council and the Board of County Commissioners, it's evident that, you know, there are so many moving parts to your department, and you keep it running like a well-oiled top. You really do. Considering all that you have to work on. So again, anything that the commissioners can do for you, please feel free to ask. And I know you do, which is perfect, that's the way it should be. But again, your Community Health Council does just terrific work, they really do. And so, thank you for everything you do for Tillamook County and our residents. So with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a co-applicant agreement with Tillamook County Community Health Council and the Board of County Commissioners for Health Center program requirements.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you, and thank you to all the volunteers, including the Health Council, for their work.
Perfect. Item number 6, discussion and consideration of amendment number 3 to the Oregon Department of Transportation Local Agency Agreement number 31444, Emergency Relief Program for the Dick Creek Bridge Bay Ocean Road Project. With us this morning, we've got Chris Lady, Director of Public Works. Chris. Oh.
It's going to be Jasper.
Jasper.
Good morning.
It's a very unfortunate bridge name,
I'll be
you know.
presenting in lieu of my director, Chris Lade, who is currently enjoying some well-earned vacation time.
Perfect.
Good for him.
So this is an amendment, as you had mentioned, to the Oregon Department of Transportation Local Agency Agreement, 31444. It's very similar to the other two amendments we had dealt with before on the ODOT bridges up on Miami Folds for Dry Creek and Crystal Creek. In this case, it's for Dick Creek Bridge, which is out on Bay Ocean Road. It is a change in cost that they are citing and adjusting for, as well as an adjustment of the time frame in which they're expecting this to be completed. It's slightly different from the prior two bridges in that there is also a change in cost based off a change of bridge size due to NOAA's address of entitlement on this particular waterway.
Okay. Thank you. Comments, questions?
No, thank you, Jasper, for filling in for Chris, and I think change orders are standard in construction, and it's interesting that NOAA changed the size of the bridge, but I think we just have to adjust.
It is unfortunate that we do in these instances. I mean, we have to rely on our federal partners to set their rules, and then we need to comply with them. At least we try.
Yes, that is correct. The good news is there's significant funding, I believe, in this project from our federal partners. So in addition to that change order, there is some additional resources that go with this, but I think we probably have to bring up our side as well. But yeah, it's an important bridge to get repaired, so.
Perfect. Okay, with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of amendment number 3 to the Oregon Department of Transportation Local Agency Agreement number 31444, Emergency Relief Program for the Dick Creek Bridge Bay Ocean Road Project.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And Jasper, since you're on the line, I just want to say thank you for the work that Public Works is currently doing to Sand Lake Road, from the 101 intersection to the T there and a little past. Much better, although I was driving it, must have been Monday, and the line had not been painted yet. And driving home that night in the dark, it was very difficult. It was, to stay on the road. But now that there's a center line, so that makes it very safe. And again, appreciate everything you're doing there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's hard enough to keep you in your lane.
Yeah. Impossible in many instances. Okay. Item number 7, discussion and consideration of a master services agreement with Ring Central MVP for MVP phone system upgrade services. And with us this morning, Jeff Underwood, Interim Director, Information Services. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Commissioners. Let me change my camera feed. Okay, well, my camera is not playing nicely this morning. That's just what you want out of your information services team, I'm sure. But so anyway, the item before you this morning is for a Ring Central agreement. options. We really focused on a hosted environment, just, we've had a hard time keeping sufficient skills in maintaining the equipment and hardware and everything for a physical phone system on-prem. So we've decided that a hosted system is really the way that we need to go to take a little bit of the load off of the staff. And now if there's a problem, we've got Ring Central to fix it rather than having to bring somebody in and poke at a server, hope we can get replacement parts in a timely manner, all of that fun stuff. So we did decide on Ring Central, mainly based on price. For the most part, hosted services seem to be fairly similar. We've been doing a test for about 2 months now. All of my work calls have actually been going through the Ring Central services. I've noticed no issues. Everything has just gone very smoothly. It does offer the option of soft phones, your cell phone, your computer, anything is your phone. It's going to be a major improvement. Should we have another situation where we're sending people back to work remotely, or if something should happen and we need to move people out of a specific building, phone service is a much easier thing to move now, so we don't have to worry about forwarding phones, any of that. So it's going to give us some real advantages to what we have currently. So I'm really excited. It's long past due, but if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know.
Thank you, Jeff. Comments, questions for Jeff?
I think it's a great solution. We moved to a cloud-based phone system when I was still at CARE, and did all of the research looking at whether having an on-premise server was the best option or to move to something that's hosted. And hosted is where everything's happening right now. Having a phone system at your site is just not something that really is a typical solution anymore. And having paid for a person to come out and fix that when we did have one at our site, this is much, much easier. It gives you continuous updates to the software so that you always have the most up-to-date product. It just is a great way to go. So I appreciate your work on this, Jeff, and I appreciate the sort of timeline to hopefully get this all done before we do have a catastrophic crash. I think that's crucial.
Mr. Bell?
Likewise, I agree with Jeff certainly that the upgrade is necessary and perhaps overdue, and we've been struggling along to work with what we had for a long time, and this should be a terrific improvement. So I'm grateful for your work, Jeff.
And just in time,
Hey,
the
there he is.
camera comes out. How about that?
And I want to say I feel better knowing that sometimes his camera doesn't work
True.
either,
That's
so it's
so
not just me.
That is so true. And so, Jeff, do you have a timeline as to installation of this Ring Central system?
So we are shooting for January. That gives us ample time to work with our vendor, get everything set up and ready to go. And it also avoids tax season, election season, when we definitely don't want to be making major changes to the system at that time. So it's the earliest we could move to get away from our current system that's in danger of failure without impacting services, and really taking the time to make sure that we get everything in place and configured and ready to go when in time for that, to make that switch.
Perfect. You just have to quit talking about potential failure, because if you keep saying it, it will happen. So you just gotta quit saying that, Jeff. Okay, with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of a master services agreement with Ring Central MVP for MVP phone system upgrade services.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
David,
Yes, sir.
I think on number 6, I don't know that you guys got to a motion and a second did you? On the one that Jasper brought up, I don't think you made a motion on that.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my mistake then.
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay,
Thank you. Sure.
no, thank you.
That's why you're here, to make sure that we do things right.
Keep us honest.
That's right. Okay, moving on to item number 8, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the appointment of a member to the Northwest Area Commission on Transportation. Commissioner Aaron Scar.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you. So one of the committees that we have in our region is the Northwest Act, which is a transportation advisory committee for ODOT. And we cover Columbia, Clatsop, Tillamook, and parts of western Washington with this committee. And there's a broad representation on it. And Tillamook County has a number of members to this committee. One of them is a small city representative. And we have an opening in that with Juliet Himes, who has left the city of Garibaldi. We have an opening for a small city representative. And Leanne Welch from Bay City has indicated her willingness to serve. And as many of you know, Leanne has worked for the county in the Public Works Department. She worked for the city of Tillamook in their public works, and she is now the city manager of Bay City. So she is very, very knowledgeable about our county roads and our city roads, as well as both the county and small cities. Leanne also served on this committee, I believe, temporarily in 2006, so she's also familiar with the Act and the work of the Act. So I'm excited to bring her forward as a candidate to serve on the Northwest Act.
Perfect. Comments?
That's exciting. I'm really grateful that Leanne is willing to serve. It seems like an ideal appointment.
I remember when I was on Northwest Act, and I was on Northwest Act as a public at large member, and Leanne was always at these meetings. As a matter of fact, I think she was on the council at that point. Northwest Area Commission on Transportation does some really important work. Keeps ODOT in line, keeps the cities in line, keeps the counties in line, keeps the state in line. So this is all good. So with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of order number 22-062 in the matter of the appointment of a member to the Northwest Area Commission on Transportation.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, we have a piece of unscheduled business. This is discussion and consideration of an application for permit on Bay Ocean Peninsula. And we're going to turn to Rachel Haggerty, Board of Commissioners, Chief of Staff. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Tillamook County received a temporary use application for the Church of Latter-day Saints to conduct a film out on Bay Ocean Dyke Road in Cape Merriweather. And so the Community Development Department has, within the areas of our jurisdiction, because they need to require permits from other jurisdictions, has approved the permit. Your key departments that need to review that permit application have signed off, and so they are authorized through the Community Development Department to conduct their film on our jurisdiction. Before you today is the vehicle permit application for access beyond the gate at Bay Ocean Road. The application is before you, also attaches a list of the vehicles that might be on site. So it's ready for your consideration pursuant ordinance 41.
Perfect, thank you. So I know we have some representatives from the film industry here. Would you like to make any comments at all?
If you looked over the presentation.
If you could identify yourself, please.
Oh, yes, my name is Kent Findlay. I'm a location manager for film and television projects. I'm a freelance location manager, and I get hired per job to do specific jobs. So I've been working on this job for about 5 years. If you've seen the presentation, I can address questions, or I can give you a quick overview. I don't know what extent you want me to go into what we're doing up there.
We actually have a little bit of time. Can you keep it very short?
Absolutely.
Perfect, thank you.
About 6 months ago, we made an agreement with Camp Merriweather. Well, let me start at the beginning. So the story of the Jaredites is a scriptural story from the Book of Mormon that talks about a people from the Tower of Babel that they prayed that their language wasn't confounded. And so when the languages were confounded, people were scattered across the world, and they were led to what we believe is North America. So we are representing the place where they landed. We don't cite specific places. We're not saying they landed in Oregon, but we're using it as a geography to say this is what it could have looked like. So and then they built their civilization, and then were destroyed prior to 600 BC. And that account is all in the Book of Mormon. So we are going to, when the Jaredites left the Tower of Babel, they journeyed for several years, what we believe through Russia, Mongolia, China, up into there, built a civilization on the coast, built some ships, came across the ocean, and then land in the New World. So where they're building their ships, we're going to do that, film that down in Camp Meriwether. On the coast there, we'll have some tents and some fake ships that they're going to be building. And we've approved that through Tillamook County as well as OPRD to access the beach. But Meriwether didn't have the diversity, the visual diversity that we needed to represent the journey. And so we did an exhaustive search within the region, and that's when we found Bay Ocean Peninsula. So they have several microclimates along there, so within the course of 3 or 4 miles, we can represent an 8-year journey, so which is really spectacular for us. So the day would be October 17th. Our hope is to bring the crew to the parking lot at Bay Ocean Park, Peninsula Park. That would be our base camp, provided you give us access to the gate right there. I'm assuming you all know what gate I'm talking about. Provided you give us access to the gate, we will travel up the road and establish an advanced base camp off of the road on some private property. Simultaneous to that, we work with OPRD to bring our filming equipment up the beach, and so we will go like this and meet right there on the filming site. So diminished impact here, and we get everything we need in one spot. So that's the driving catalyst to get us on the peninsula. And then there's 3 shots continuing north along the peninsula that we can get at the same time right there. And those are in specific spots. I'm assuming you know where they are. They're on the bay side and up on the point. I will say this, that getting a film to come through all the necessary channels it has to come through is a difficult process. There's a lot of moving parts. And we recognize that we are often outside of the parameters that the municipalities have set. We're always out there. So we appreciate taking the time to consider our request, even though it is out of the ordinary. However, I want to say this in conjunction with that we find that we're often more protective of the resources than you are, because someone's going to come behind me and ask for the same thing at some point in the future, 3, 5, 10 years down the road. And if I've done a poor job, I make it harder on them. I'm standing on the shoulders of people that have come before me, and the people that have really developed good relationships, cooperative, viable relationships, they pave the way for everything to get done. So we will willingly submit to whatever conditions you want us to submit to. We'll take great care of the property. We're happy to submit to inspections and oversight, whatever you need to do to make sure that you're happy with our actions. We just, we ask for this permission to get past the gate and accomplish our plan.
Thank you for that, appreciate it very much.
Okay.
Perfect. Questions, comments?
Thank you for joining us and giving us the story, because I was curious about the story and the project, and so I appreciate you being here today. And something that came to mind for me while you were talking is that one of the things that I love about Oregon, about being an Oregonian, is that our beaches are public. And so I feel like we hold beaches in trust for people. And I appreciate your pledge to leave no trace. That's what we would ask, leave no trace. And I think your project sounds interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it sounds interesting, and I love the fact that you can depict a journey of 8 years in 4 spaces, not more than a couple of miles apart here in Tillamook County. We know we have a lot of diversity in our geography, a lot of diversity in our little microclimates, and the spin is a perfect example of that. So I think it's great.
Perfect. We do some filming in Tillamook County. Most of them are commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are auto commercials, as a matter of fact. I know there have been some movies made here on the North Oregon coast. But yes, we appreciate it very much. I'm sure you've been inundated with all the paperwork that you need to do, not only at the county level, but at the state level. And I wouldn't be surprised if the feds weren't involved somewhere. Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I'll mention this, although I don't think this is the season. But we have a snowy plover issue that we can't disturb snowy plovers. We can't fly kites. We can't take dogs off leash when snowy plovers are nesting. But I don't think we're in the season for that. So we do have lots of issues that go on, but we're glad you're here.
Thank you, sir.
Great. with that, I think we're looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval for an application for permit on Bay Ocean Peninsula.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. So, we are going to be going into executive session, and, Bill, that is?
192-6602E.
Thank you very much. Before we go into executive session, let's go through board announcements, shall we? Okay, we have quite a list of board announcements today, so we'll get this out of the way. Well, we make no decisions in executive session, and when we come out of executive session, we'll just come back into session here and adjourn the meeting. So, other meetings and announcements. The commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, October 12th, 2022 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the courthouse in the Nehalem Room, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. Teleconference number is 971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. The commissioners will hold an executive session on Thursday, October 13th, that's tomorrow, 2022, at 9 a.m. pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub I to conduct a performance evaluation. Is that time correct? It's my understanding it was at 11.
I don't know that.
I'm pretty sure it was at 11 o'clock. I'm hooked into a meeting right now. Excuse me,
Debbie, can you confirm what that time is?
Yeah, Commissioner, it's I have it at 1 o'clock, at 1 p.m.
That's weird. On my calendar, it's 11 because I'm having to leave
I see
not
your
the-
calendar.
Not the emergency volunteer corps, but what's
Winter
that?
preparedness
Winter
meeting.
preparedness meeting. I'm having to leave that early in order to get back for that. So it is at 1 o'clock.
It is.
Okay. So, disregard the 9 a.m. on our agenda. It is apparently at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Again, pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub I, to conduct a performance evaluation. The executive session will be held in the courthouse in the Nehalem Room, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The executive session is not open to the public. Tillamook County Emergency Management, here it is. We'll hold an Emergency Management Winter Preparedness Meeting on Thursday, October 13, 2022 at 10 a.m. The meeting will be held at the Port of Tillamook Bay in the main conference room, 4000 Blimp Boulevard, Tillamook, Oregon. Teleconference number is 971-254-3149. Conference ID 578-880-280#. The commissioners will attend a local government advisory committee meeting on Friday, October 14, 2022 at 10 a.m. The teleconference number is 971-277-2543, conference ID 282-387-33#. The Local Public Safety Coordinating Council, LIPSIC, teleconference will be held on Monday, October 17, 2022 at noon, 12 p.m. The teleconference number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 113-785-794#. The commissioners will also attend a Tillamook Lagwave entity meeting on Tuesday, October 18, 2022 at noon. The teleconference number is 253-215-8782, conference ID 899-5732-9678#. Also, finally, the commissioners will attend a Tourism Advisory Committee member applicant interview on Monday, October 17, 2022 at 2 p.m. The teleconference number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 293-389-985, and I don't see a pound after that one, so I believe that is it. Those are our other meetings and announcements, and with that, time being 9:35 a.m., we will break into executive session. Thank you, everyone.